I hope you are well. Happy Wednesday. Thanks for joining us here. This is our eighth broadcast on this channel. So thanks for joining us. If you keep coming back for more, thank you. If you're new, welcome. So this broadcast is basically myself and Tim, I will introduce shortly. It's all about making music. Whatever you're into, come along, say hi, get in the chat room. We've got a great bunch of people always in the chat room. And obviously there's a link. It's Ableton Live. We all Ableton Live users. I'm an Ableton certified trainer, and Tim, who's with me, is in a band, and he's learning how to use Live better to make his music better. So let's just say hi to Tim.
Hello,
Are you
guys.
there, mate?
I'm here.
See ya. No cats at the moment, no?
No cats. No, I'm sure they're making a appearance. I've got some little cocktail sausages here, so the probability of a cat visit has been increased slightly.
So are the cocktail sausages for you, or are they a lure?
I felt like we were on Shooting Stars for a moment then.
Yeah.
No, they're not. They're not a lure. They were
No.
for me. They've just not been finished.
Okay. And you're going to sneak one in when we're doing some... we can't see you.
When we're not looking. When we get Tobi on. Yeah.
Good. Tobi. Who's Tobi? I don't know who you're talking about.
You do.
Okay. Yeah, of course. So if you've joined here not to see these two people, you've come to see the Ableton Drummer. Yes, the Ableton Drummer will be with us in about 25 minutes. And you're in for a treat. The guy's awesome. Love it. Met him before he came to Manchester. And yeah, just great. You'll see.
Yeah.
So Tim, we always do a little section before where we're talking about things we'd like to do in our songs and just to get better at. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sat really strange. I've not exercised for 6 weeks, and I did some squats yesterday. My thighs. Oh my. Anyway. Digress.
So is that part of the process?
I've got my Mini Nova to work though. You know, I've got a Moog. Well, I've got a couple of Moogs. One is in my care, but my Mini Nova works again now. Dodgy USB cable, but so I've got to touch it so you can see. But great if you can find one on eBay, just get them.
Just buy them. Buy many.
Yeah, it's got a vocoder in it, and you probably can't see, but it's got a microphone built into it. If I move that, you see that one? It's got a microphone built in it like them. And it came out the same time as the micro Korg thing of the art. But they're great. You can download sounds on it and stuff. Anyway, so that's one thing to update you.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, I did some artist training with somebody. I won't mention who it was, but
are you baiting me? Go on.
No, I'm not. I don't want to reveal his production secrets. Oh, it's his, so you know. We've cut it down.
I don't want to do that.
No, but so we were talking about Ableton Live, and this particular person had not used Convolution Reverb, right, which is in Live 10. I think Live 9 you could use it as long as you had Max for Live, but in Live 10 it became part of Ableton Live anyway, taking it back, Convolution Reverb, and he said, I use this Brickasti in my studio. £4,000 they are. I think he said 3 at the time, but I've just checked how much they are now, and they're £3,000 on other sites like Gear for Music and stuff. If you can just show me what I'm talking about, because I want to show people what this is, because there it is, a Brickasti M7. Now these, if you've heard of them before, I don't know if anybody in the chat room has. Also a quick check, but these things, right, about £4,000 they are, and they're supposed to be one of the best reverbs in studios, right? And the others are available, but this thing gets a lot of attention. So all I know is that the model is an M7, right? So I was showing, we can go back now, Tim. We can see how much they are if you want, but no, it don't matter. They're about £4,000, right? So stop your screen sharing, and I'll go and tell you what I'm on about. So this particular artist said, I've used this M7, and my favorite preset is, and then I'll just share my screen and do all that. Now, when Tobi comes on, he's going to show us some great things about all this. Oh, you can see all my stuff going here. So another thing as well, guys, anybody's in the chat room then, we've just been having this chat about zooming zooming the display on live. Did I just delete something then? No, it's all right. The display on live. So I'm sure you all know this, that your zoom display, you can zoom in and whatever. If I put this onto 100, it's kind of like, I've got a 27-inch monitor and it probably looks really like small and, I mean, detailed, but so I'm going to go
it does a bit on my Mac.
What does it look like on the stream? Because I'm on 130 there. I mean, my eyes are terrible, so about there somewhere.
Looks cool. Well, remember, I'm dealing with a delay here, so...
we'll catch up in a sec. So anyway, back to that. So I was talking about Convolution Reverb, right? So this Bricasti BM7, no one seems to know this, and I've even looked last night on Google, and no one talks about it, right? Anywhere. Ableton stuff. If you type Ableton, there's loads of things about Convolution Reverb, but basically, in here, everyone that says BM7 is an impulse response taken from a Bricasti M7 reverb unit. So I showed it to artist in question. He went, put long ambience on. And I did. Now imagine, so for those of you who have never used this, obviously we've got hybrid reverb, which you can use the same impulse responses in. So an impulse response is basically a recording of the sound of an environment. Like most of these in here are like churches and things like that, yeah? And there's a famous place in Edinburgh called the Hamilton Mausoleum, which is down here somewhere. And it's got, there it is, Hamilton Mausoleum has got the longest natural reverb in Europe or in the UK anyway. 15 seconds. So if you go and make a sound, it'll reverb for 15 seconds. So that's cool.
I love Convolution Reverb.
Yeah, it's awesome. Now, and there's a reason we use it in our mixes all the time, which this is all heading towards. We'll get there. So, yeah, Convolution Reverb. This particular is Convolution Reverb Pro, where you get all these added features where you can do all kinds of stuff. Anyway, so I was on ambience and small rooms. I think I was on there. So all these BM7s. So what's happened is, now this gets complicated, but the hybrid reverb that's in Live 11 is half convolution and half algorithmic. So algorithmic is more like sort of, artificial, and it's kind of almost like synthesizer for reverb kind of thing, which the regular reverb is in Live. So the Bricasti one, this really amazing £4,000 thing, that also is algorithmic. But it's been kind of recorded in all these impulse responses taken by somebody amazing, one of our developers in Ableton somewhere has done this. And they've basically like sort of not sampled, but they've taken the impulse responses from the Bricasti. And when I tried them and I played it to somebody who had one, they were like, "Yeah, that's what it sounds like." Now, obviously, you haven't got all the same controls.
Yeah.
But it's there. I'm telling you. So let's have a listen to it.
You've got that level of sounds in there.
Yeah, and honestly, just the arguments. There's actually what the guys from Spitfire Audio have a reverb shootout, and they're in the studio and they're testing all these different reverbs. Go in there if you want. I just want to make music, really. I don't really want to have a shootout, but it helps you. But, I'm trying to save you some time. Don't do it. Large ambience. There you go. So this is like a impulse response. You can see that. And I'll just put the dry wet on 0. Here's a guitar. All right, you ready? Large ambience. Now if I turn it off now. So I hope it comes across like you might not be getting stereo, Tim, but hopefully everybody else is.
But it still comes across.
But yeah, so some of these, and then you can just move through them, and that one was that was large ambience, but you got all these different rooms. So that's good, you can do all this, but what we use it for is when we do guitars and we have like stereo guitars or even individual stuff. And I think it was Breathe, Tim, one of yours from a bit back, And
Yeah.
what we did is you can use this audio positioner. You can basically affect where it is left and right, but also how far and how forward. Now, if you're used to mixing and using reverb, you know, the more reverb you put on it, essentially it pushes it backwards into the mix and sort of makes it more ethereal and stuff like that. But there's a lot of other things you can do, you know, like to make something a bit further back, you can roll the bass off. And if you want to make it not as defined, roll some treble off so it's not as clear. And there's all these things you can do, which you can read all about. And these impulse responses seem to have a lot of bass with them, actually. But that can be good. But I can... It's a crazy loop that guitar, isn't it?
It's cool.
But you get the idea. But the thing is, you can move it around. So I'll just try it with the vocal, and you can see. But I'm just all about these precasty ones because I was really fascinated that.
Standing in the rain, fell down in my brain. I was doing silly things just to make you look at me. Couldn't win the game. Standing in the rain, fell down in my brain.
I'll pull that. That's why it sounds mad. I was trying something before. The original tempo was about here somewhere.
Standing in the rain, fell down.
I'm going to put that guitar on so you can see that I've not gone crazy. Yeah, you feeling that? I think I use small wooden room or something.
Yeah, it all makes a tiny bit more sense now.
Sorry.
No, it sounded good before.
Oh, there you go. So that's a small room. Anyways, try the vocal.
Standing in the
It's
rain,
cool,
fell
that.
down in my brain. I was doing silly things just to make you look at me. Couldn't win the game, but I might try again. If I learn my lesson, babe, it's a possibility. And I don't know if I'll see you again or is this the end? I don't know. Standing in the rain.
Yeah.
So what was it? Because me and you had a conversation about this because I was intrigued by it, and we were doing guitars or vocals. I've done this with where we're using the positioning. We've pushed some to the back, but then you told me that obviously the center point's there. So explain to me again what's happening when you pull that forward, because we've used a technique where we push some to the back and pulled one to the front.
So you see, it says depth there. If you push it back, obviously it's like you've moved it away, and I'm presuming, although I do not fully know, if somebody else tell me, that's like the sort of the center point of where it is. Like you're looking at this on a forward, it's like a runway, that's how I look at it. So if you pull it further away, it's going to be push it further back, it's further away. If you bring it forward, it kind of acts in reverse. So what we did with your vocal for Society is bring it forward, so it's actually drier. And I don't know, it must calculate it in reverse, because I'll do that with her voice. I'll put it on I'll really go quite wet, really, but listen to this.
Standing in the rain, fell down in my brain. I was doing silly things.
If you wanted to bring it forward.
Couldn't win the game, but I might try again. If I learn my lesson, babe, it's a possibility.
If I turn that right dry, now you just get...
Standing in the rain, fell down in my brain. I was doing silly things just to make you look at me. Couldn't win the game, but I might try again. If I learn my lesson, babe, it's a possibility. I don't know if...
So, bottom line is that there's one of these. Now, I can't remember if it's a Bricasti one, but I use Made for Drums. Oh, they are. Drum Chamber. And these are obviously, rooms that are good at reflecting or not reflecting percussion. But, yeah, check this out.
Standing in the rain, fell down in my brain. I was doing silly things just to make you look at me. Couldn't win the game, but I might try again. If I learn my lesson, babe, it's a possibility. I don't know if I'll see you again or is this the end? I don't know.
And I use this one called Percussion Air. We use that on loads of our stuff. Good for electronic music as well. It just seems to it's quite a short decay time.
Standing in the rain, fell down in my brain. I was doing silly things just to make you look at me. Couldn't win the game, but I might try again. If I learn my lesson, babe, it's a possibility.
So yeah, you get the idea. Now, okay, so you're thinking, right, okay, yeah, it's just a reverb and whatever, it sounds all right. But when you start to use it with the position, now you see I've gone crazy here, and because I think you should, you should see this, Tim. Because so what I've got, to save time, and I know that I've got something else that I want to show you on. We're just about right. Can you see, Tim? Is James Tuck in the chat room.
He is. Yeah.
Just say hi, because he's going to help us with the share MIDI and party situation. That,
because we're going at it again. Third time lucky.
How can I invite him to this call? Because I think he needs an invite to this. I don't know how to do it, like from here. Can I do it to... Right, I'll figure it out, James. Just one sec. So we might not be able to do it, James, whilst I'm on, but we're going to try the SMAP thing, because it doesn't crash now. It was because I was using the beta. Anyway, so if I just turn that off, and what I did, I just made a quick sound on Wavetable, just drew it straight in. I think that's the default sound. And I just made a quick... I drew it on here, and what I did scale, and I chose randomly F sharp minor, and then I did play one, miss one, play one, miss one, play one, miss one, and then I got this just this chord, and I was like, oh, that sounds okay. So without anything on, it sounds like this. It's okay, but I wanted arpeggiator, so I went like this. Now, I always go over to unison to make it sound all chorusy, but I wanted to use the convolution reverb thing. So, yeah, and then just interestingly enough, that chord, you've probably seen me talk about this all the time. If you want to know what that chord was, it was G flat minor 9. That's what it was.
It's good for me, that, with my
it's good for
terrible
anyone.
Theory.
Okay, so we got that. Put the arpeggiator on. So, yeah, there's nothing special about that. But, so, now this is just a trick, and I showed somebody this. No names mentioned, but it's all over their album now, I'm telling you. Right, so what I did is I want to move this around, right? Now, you can automate this. I'm sure everybody knows you can just spin it around and do all this stuff. But what I figured out was if you get an LFO, and you can now, if you're in Live 11, you just go audio effects and boom, it's there. LFO's there now, obviously my favorites. Drag it on. And then what I'll reverse engineer this so you can see what I've done. I'll turn it on. Get rid of that. So by default, it's a nice sine wave there. I'm not doing anything crazy. But what I've figured out, I don't know how, is that if you do it at 37 hertz, right? And I'll just put that in the middle like this. And then what I'm going to do is map the LFO. So you're cool with the LFO, Tim, what it's doing. It's a low
cool
frequency oscillator.
It's the mapping that I...
Yeah. Well, so what's happened since, I think, version 10, you can map something off here. And then if you click this little tab, you can then map another bunch of things all together. You can do anything. You can map anything that's mappable in Live. It's amazing. Anyway, so I'm going to map the pan. So click on pan, and it's going to move left and right. Now, for some reason, this 37 hertz thing has got this kind of lilt to it. I don't know why. It just works, right? And then if I try, what you can do, if I go here, you can map it using the same motion to something else, right? So I'll try the depth just to show you. So you do that. Have I already done it? And then unmapped. It's kind of grayed out there. So that's why it's being mapped by that one there. So let me just... I'll have to switch it on, and then basically, if you do it with the same device, obviously it's moving in the same shape, and you need to kind of offset it a little bit. But if I press map now, I can do it on here, and then it'll start to do this, and you can move that around, and you can reverse the values and stuff like that. But what I found is if you kind of use another one, so if I unmap that now, and then I'll let that sort of meander a little bit. But if you get another device, another LFO device, and switch that on and do the same thing, so map to 37, now I hope it works this now, but what you find, look at that, it just starts doing this oval shape, right? So I'm a big fan, but if you put it on 100%, there you go, it does a full, so for some reason, when you put it at 30.37 hertz, it does that. Now you can obviously make it go faster, and this is where it gets interesting, but for this one, I'm just going to make it go like that. So when you play your arpeggio thing that I've got going, it'll level itself out in a sec. It'll start to move it around in your stereo field, yeah? can have more of that, less of a... So it's gone all over the place now. So you can do that, but what I thought would be even more interesting, if I just do it on a static chord, so I should have, let me just turn them off here. Same chord, same wavetable. You can see it's going insane there. So I'll bring it in so you can see what I did at first. But yeah, I was having fun. So bit of that. If I just play, it's just it's the same thing, just a chord. Just that. So what I've done, I've got this to do the movement, and then for the depth, I've got it to another LFO to actually map the rate on here. So I'll show you what's happened. I'll put it on. You see this here?
I'm with you. Yeah.
So that's coming from there. So I set it up exactly the same. I got them on. I made it into like 37, so it would spin round. But then I mapped the rate. I mapped the rate of the LFO41 to this, so it'd do these really crazy. So it's not. It's now in time. So it's going from like 64th notes to that. So it's moving it around like that. And then I thought, let's just get a phaser on it.
Says girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds great, mate.
So you can do it with anything. So we got there eventually, and so we were going to try something with the the share MIDI and party thing. So what I'm going to do, if James is there, just tell him I'm going to try it now, because I wanted to get him into the call, but I can't figure out how to do this like without me going off and them doing this and invite him in. So just tell him we're going, and he will tell us. Let me just stop all these clips. So he's going to do what we tried to do. So if you weren't here watching the previous episodes, we've tried this twice, right? Once was me and Tim, and we had some sort of crazy issues. it went off. Is that when Mark Towers was on?
Once it completely crashed the stream, and the next time it just crashed Ableton, didn't it?
Yeah, but I think that was because the device was made for Live 10 and it's not made for Live 11. Anyway, so for those of you who have just joined this and think, what are these guys on about? There's this free Max for Live device, called Share MIDI and Party. And it's just type SMAP into Google and you'll find it. Now I'm going to use a receiver. And the whole idea, there you go, see? That James on the other end has got the sender, and he's sending MIDI. Now, has he told you the name of the room? We need to know the name of the room and then his name. But
Euro Jazz Gate Crash.
Of course. Euro Jazz. And what was it?
Gate Crash.
Gate Crash. That's some sort of...
Euro Jazz and Gate are capitalised crashes.
Yeah. All right, and then, so I've typed this in now and press return. So when I press select user, without you telling me, I should be able to tell you what his username is. Silent type. Yeah, which one or two? Silent type or silent type 2? I'll go for that one. Right, I've got Euro Jazz Gate Crash Silent Type. So what James has got, if he creates, he'll now drop a device onto his MIDI channel, and then theoretically, I'll just solo all these channels. He will create something on here. And when he drops the device on, it should tell me the name of the device. Yeah, we'll just see if he does it. If it changes there, that target device thing, then I'll know that he's done it. There's probably a delay as well. Tell him I've gone for silent type and to do that. But yeah, so for those who haven't seen it, you can share MIDI over the internet, and once it's connected, they've got like a little server, and you say a room sort of thing, and then the other person can create a device, and then hopefully James can make a beat on my page. But we were going to get him on, and he's
responded, said yeah, in homage to last week.
In homage. Oh, there you go. Right, so can you see this here? I'll just zoom in. So drum rack, the target device, I need to put a drum rack and cushion kit on here. So it's working. We're doing this. So we've actually got a connection. So now if I go to drums, cushion kit, I see now. Now you know I've tried it before because it was already highlighted. But if I drop that on there, what should happen now is I've got the right sounds basically. I think it probably would work anyway. But now if James creates a beat, it should appear as a clip at the top here. Oh,
there we are.
Is that me?
What was it? What was it?
I don't know. Right, so let's see if it does it. Because he'll be quite a few seconds behind us. So that's the idea. We know what he is there, and he's going to just drop in there.
It's gonna be like.
It's like we're waiting for it.
But
Come
it's
on.
gonna be an episode of Derek Okara, isn't it? Where we're all.
Oh, he's off. Yeah.
I can hear
Anybody
something.
there?
Is anybody there? Marjorie, is that you with that kick drum?
No, it's James Tuck. Right, so I don't know how it's like. All right. So he's come through now. We've got drums, and he's playing drums through. Now he mentioned this. So he said that the tempo of my project was 121, but I think it was like 140 or something that he said it was going to be. So let me just try that. Yeah, that's better, isn't it? So we've got a drummer coming on in a bit to sort us all out. All right. Okay, so let's just say that I open a new MIDI track because I've just seen now that he's got where's the thing? Oh, there you go. So if I go back into here, I put another receiver. You've got to put receiver on each MIDI track. So I know that he's Euro. What was it, Tim? Euro Jazz.
Euro Jazz Gate Crash.
Gate Crash. So that's the name of like his room.
That's the
Do
room.
that, and then it was
Silent type.
Oh, hang on, I've got to press return after it, and then he's not there now.
He's gone.
Have I spelt it right? Euro Jazz Gate Crasher.
Gate Crash, not Crasher.
Oh, there you go. It's me. See, human error. Right, press return. Oh, there you go. So don't blame the computers. It's usually the humans. Anyway, so now I've got that on here.
Raz is saying your audio is way low in volume now. It's got quite quiet for some reason.
What, me or me?
All I've got is your audio.
Okay. And who was that?
Many people.
Oh, okay. Right, okay. Well, you see now it just says name, undefined, title, B-bass. So, B-bass, I mean, I could just go into instruments. I know where that is. It's in simpler. B-bass, there you go. How geeky am I? Right, okay, so now I've got that. He could do that, and I've got the right tempo. So we'll just sit back and let him do that. And then coming up shortly, we've got the Ableton Drummer. What are you laughing at, you, Tim? I can't see what you're laughing at.
I'm just laughing at the stuff that's going on in there. And this, that we're sat here waiting for Derek to start conjuring spirits. For us to sit here and hear a bump upstairs and go, it's a ghost. So yeah.
Oh, right, yeah. Oh, it was Raz as in Rasmus.
Rasmus, yeah.
Oh, man, how you doing? Oh, he's in.
He's here.
Oh, good.
He's back on the drums.
There you go. He's on his drums. And he's got a bass line. So you can see him doing it here. You can see him moving it. He's off. Oh, you can see him moving it in real time. Oh, we're in the red there. We're in the red. Go on, lad. All right, man. Can I just ask one thing, James? It'll bass. I can't. I think on the go back to your other channel, and I think Tim, watch it. If you go back to your cushion kit, James, move squash there, number 75, right? Just move it and I'm sure that
it'll do it there.
It actually does it, yeah. But so I'm gonna put my hand so you can't see it's me. Just move it. I'm sure that you can move sort of automate other people's. It's on 75. Is there anybody there? Try and move it. You get the idea, guys.
James.
Yeah, so trust me, if you guys are trying this and you're not online doing a live stream, it's really easy.
Volume's all right now.
Anyway, so we've got a guest. So James, if you're there, thanks for that. We wanted to actually get your face on so people could see it wasn't me just making it up. And thanks a lot for that. So yeah, guys, do try it at home. It's fun. Try it with your friends, and obviously in combination with what we showed you last week, the Sonobus. If any of you tried that, and yes. So So Raz is over here and we want to get Raz on the show too.
We do.
So we do. We miss you, man.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're gonna let Tobi in, but before I do that, I'm gonna play one of the videos. This is the Ableton Drummer, Tobi, who's going to be on in a matter of minutes. So let me just play this as a nice little intro. From somewhere in Germany, West Germany, we have the Ableton Drummer. Woo! We got him. We kept trying to get him, and he's just elusive. And we've eventually got him. So, Tobi, welcome. Great to have you.
Hello.
Awesome to have you. I've always plugged your stuff from show number 1. If you go back and watch them, and anybody who hasn't seen any of them, you can go and watch all of these on replay on YouTube. But yeah, just one quick thing. Tim's going to put a link into some quick tip videos that I did because we were just saying then that not everybody realized that the MIDI monitor tells you what chord you're playing. And I've done a little 1-minute video. You didn't know. I did a 1-minute video on how to know what key you're playing in. And there's various ways of finding out. I mean, there's loads that you can all probably tell me, but that does tell you what actual notes you're playing, just like Logic does. Anyway, we've got Tobi in the house. So, Tobi, the video we just showed them, you're doing all sorts of stuff. I can pick out an SPDX, something like that, a Roland thing.
Yeah, not in the video, but I got one here, yeah.
Oh, you got one there. And
yeah,
there's triggers and...
Triggers, exactly. So everything is actually played live. Like everything you hear in this video is real time.
Whoa.
There's no backing track, you know? So everything, and this is like gives me a whole different concept of playing live, because obviously, like when you're just playing in a band without a computer, you sometimes play a bit faster, you play a bit slower,
Yeah.
you're reacting to the crowd. So yeah, and yeah, so it took a little while, quite a
Yeah.
journey to be able to program this.
Jeez.
And I'm gonna show some basic functions of what I'm using
Oh yeah, yeah.
for this performance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So for the because that's interesting you should say that, because to look at it with, I mean, when I saw you do that, you basically explained everything, and that was kind of a key component, is that you're not playing to backing tracks, you're triggering stuff, you're stopping and starting it, and at the end of the video will play at the end of the show. You totally, is it called rallentendo? You slow right down. You actually play really slow and then just stop.
Ritterlando, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't do music at school, but I did. I didn't do it. I tried a violin once. No, but yeah, you just slow the tempo in real time. Now, and I know that I've also directed people to your website for the guide you did about follow tempo in Live 11, which I'm guessing you're a fan of.
Yes, yes,
Good.
yes. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, there was the Beat Seeker Max for Live plugin there before,
Yeah.
but for everyone who doesn't know, since Ableton 11, it's a built-in function where you can make Ableton Live follow your drummers or a rhythmical instruments. It's designed for drums, so drums works best. So it can follow your tempo, meaning tempo fluctuations around a given reference tempo.
Yeah.
So yeah. So yeah, and that's awesome. I mean, for live, because you don't want to jump like from 50 to 80, but you want, sometimes it don't want songs to be static.
Yeah.
And for this, it's really awesome. It's really great, and it works really great. Yeah.
Good. So the guide that you've done, because when I was doing lots of, Live 11 onboardings and stuff like that, from back end of last year, and it's quite difficult to show, especially in a time when we're in a pandemic and you can't show it in real life, which is where it really works best. So I was doing things like using YouTube videos of drummers playing and percussion ensembles that was slowly speeding up in time, and I could show that, but it's still quite difficult to show. So I do recommend the guide from Tobi about how to set up and use follow tempo, because it's kind of a feature that people may not really know or use yet.
But
yeah.
it has the possibility to change the click track paradigm.
Okay.
It's like it has like the opportunities there now. It's gonna take a couple of years, I guess, to really change stuff. But as soon as you play with it, and as soon as you realize, well, actually, we don't, as a band, you don't have to stick to the click dictation anymore. If people are gonna find out how it works and feel comfortable, there's a lot of insecurity, because like the setup system Ableton is proposing is like using a dynamic mic in a certain position. It's called the Wurst position. So it's gonna detect your kick, your snare, and your toms.
Oh, okay.
And everyone I talk to about this feature, like drummers who are using, or who are like the musical directors and doing the backing track operations and their live act, they were all like, yeah, but a microphone on stage, which is like determining our tempo, and like there's a lot of insecurity about it. So I found out, or I was thinking about this, and I found out a way to say, like, well, actually, you can use triggers on your drums, send those to a drum module like the SPDSX, and then send ghost samples just from this thing to Ableton Live to feed the tempo follow function,
I get that.
Yeah, and this way you don't have any change in like crosstalks or different rooms, different dynamics into the microphone. You always have the same volume from your samples, you know?
So you're using triggers on the drums, which you will be playing anyway, and then into the module of the SPDX, and then they're coming out. Obviously, none of this can be heard by anyone because you're just got it as the output.
Yeah.
Does that make sense, Tim? Because
Yeah.
I get that.
I don't think I could execute it. No, but I know what you're saying.
You're avoiding using mics on stage or extra mics on stage, which will cause problems and issues. That's the idea. Yeah.
It's just like if you say like, well, okay, you are playing in a band and you have like a couple of backing tracks. Let's say you have a few strings or some synth melodies, like in your indie punk band or whatever, you know. So and then you have one microphone in a small pub somewhere close to the drums, and then it's really like everyone is really close together, and the bassist is drunk as always, and then he falls over the mic. I mean, that's real life. I mean, like, especially for smaller bands, you know, you need to set up quick. You need to like, and then shit, I forgot to put this cable in here and this cable there. So having a microphone, which is actually determining and doing like analyzing the tempo and setting the tempo is like, wow, that's a big responsibility for this one thing. This needs to be like 100%.
Yeah.
So obviously, in a lot of situations for bands, this feels like, I'm not sure if I want to do this. No? A lot of drummers and a lot of people who are using electronic sounds and samples are using an SPDSX just to give you one example. So this is like the thing you will see if a drummer is using electronic sounds, like in 60-70%, you will see this thing. And you can send MIDI from here into Ableton Live, so it's a perfect MIDI controller for Ableton Live anyways. So my idea is actually you're not going to use a microphone, you're going to use a kick drum sound and a snare drum sound from this internal sounds here, but they are being triggered from your acoustic kick and from your snare. And then these sounds are being generated in here, and they are being sent to Ableton Live to feed the follow instead of using a microphone.
Right. Awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, all explained in the guide.
Good. Wow.
It's cool.
So
Very cool.
I mean, you could. I mean, even for people who are not necessarily drummers, that's still. I mean, you know, using hands, and I know people like, I don't know, sort of more visual performers like FKA Twigs and things like. They're always looking for ways to connect with visuals and make percussion movements. I mean, even if you've got like one drum or a pad, and like the vocalist can kind of play stuff on that, and then it can affect the tempo and even do gates and all sorts of stuff. I know that you've talked about that in the past as well. So it's kind of it assists that, doesn't it? It really helps to do that, and the whole tempo thing. Yeah,
it's just like, I mean, that's on one side, that's the beauty about Ableton Live. People use it in so many different ways. I mean, just the stuff you just presented is like, that's production stuff. You wouldn't do this live because you wouldn't like use so much CPU just for one sound. So, but for live stuff, it needs to be like as safe as possible.
Absolutely.
Obviously. So the perspective on things are so different, and so many people, hey, you can do that and that and that. Yeah, but your CPU is at 80%, so not really.
Yeah, the real world, you've got to. It's a whole different mindset, isn't it? Of kind of, you know, we always say, minimize to maximize all the time, but you do, don't you? You do need to really strip things down. But that's awesome. So what have you got to show us? Because I know you've got loads of stuff, and I want to make sure that, that's it. He's got goodies.
Yeah. I mean, I want to show like the core operation or the core Max for Live device I programmed for doing stuff like I just did in my video you showed. So actually, it's just triggering note by note sequence. So I'm playing somewhere, and I just want to show how I'm using this device, because you can program and you can program, but then you're losing your creativity, you're losing your creative workflow. And making music, especially with computers, one of the big challenges is to stay in your workflow, isn't it? Like, because yeah, you can do that, and then you're programming and doing stuff for 2 hours, but you're not making any music. So I want to show you this one example. So
you share screen whenever you're ready, man. You just jump in, and I'll get rid of us so we can just see you.
Let's see if the audio's set right.
Yeah.
So you should hear something now. And I'm
Nah.
same like before.
Yeah, always the case. All right.
It's like shares.
I forget that every single time we do a Zoom call. That's
Everyone does.
Every time.
Everyone.
It needs to be automated somehow.
Yeah, there you go. So I can make it. Yep. Do that again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty quiet, but we got you.
Yeah, it's the upright piano is getting some MIDI sometimes from somewhere, so I need to reload it. And it should be fine now.
Nice.
Yeah. So from a writing, when I'm in writing mode, I'm sitting at my piano playing some notes. So I'm just gonna record some notes here. And I got those in the MIDI clip now. So let's say I want to play those on my drums with a pad or with a trigger. So what I can do now is I can select all those notes and use this device I programmed. It's called Melody Trigger.
Ooh.
And I can import all the notes which are selected just by clicking here. And now I have notes.
Where did you click? I didn't see where you clicked.
Yeah, sorry. I'm gonna put on my, where is it? Cursor.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah. So
import clip. Oh, I like it.
There are a lot of options here, obviously. So I just like to do it easy. So first step is like putting in the notes, selecting the notes, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 notes in here. And then I go to my device, and this device, I will explain it in detail after, but I can just click on import notes here, and I can import the pitch, the velocity, and the duration. Ooh. So that's what I did now. And how many notes did I say do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12. Okay. So now I need to set this to 12. And those notes are in here now. It looks a bit... And I now can trigger those notes with this trigger button here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So this is looking very similar to a MIDI clip. So if I shorten the notes, you can see the notes much better now. Yeah, so those are the notes I was playing. And I can trigger step by step this sequence of notes. Yeah. So let's do this with a drum controller now. So what you want to do, you want to use a MIDI controller. So this could be my E-piano, this could be a push, just sending one MIDI note to trigger this sequence. So actually what this button here is doing. So I can switch on note input here, a single note input here, press on S for sync. And now I just need to press the button on my push or a key on my MIDI controller or whatever, or just a field here. And now can play it.
Awesome. So that do, so if you play that really fast, it will go through it, the cycle through. And then go right down.
Yeah, you know,
Play it really slow. Play it really slow now.
And already,
And could you also like swing that? Could you make it go dum dum da dum? Yeah, I'm sold. I'm sold. I'm
Yeah,
sold.
yeah.
I'm sold.
It's great that.
yeah, and that's like the great example here already to show you. Well, yeah, you're staying in the musical flow, and when I was just playing it fast, wow, that sounded great, you know. So that could be really used, and then you can combine it. So it's still like you're still in a creative flow. It's not like I want to play those notes exactly like that. I'm just putting in material, and then I'm playing, and I see getting inspiration and see where it's gonna take me. Yeah.
No, it's great that, Toby. I was only thinking yesterday when I was in the studio, like I've not played live for so long now that you kind of it becomes a little bit disembodied at times, doesn't it? Because even if you're recording and you're recording guitar, you'll be getting into it and you'll be enjoying yourself, but it's not quite full throttle embodied music creation. And what you're enabling is like to be able to play all that stuff in, and it's just gonna have the feel in it.
Yeah, and
Extra.
and it brings for me it brings some, it's getting away from this like stiffness when you like, oh yeah, let's do electronic music, let's do it live, and then you're like, you have to do it exactly like you programmed it. And when I'm playing in this with this ego formation, with this video we just watched, you know, I'm gonna decide there when to go to the next part.
Yeah.
I can decide how to play this note now or now. You know, it's and it adds another musical layer and another musical level to what you can do there, what you can express. Yeah. So
That's awesome. Can I just ask you? Can you just put the screen share back on again? Because
yes.
I thought of it, and then I looked at your device, and I thought, oh well, there's the answer. Well, there it is. Right. So yeah. So straight away, I can see you've got trigger edit, so you can reverse the pattern, and
Yes.
you can you randomize it as well?
Yes. So there are a few functions here. So I can play it reverse, so I can go a step backwards.
Oh.
Or I could repeat the note I'm currently on.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah. So
That's wicked.
so you can just put in just a certain scale, for example. Yeah. So you have this in here as well. You can put in a scale, and then just play random notes as well. You know, so improvise.
Yeah.
Okay, you're now in E minor, and just go for it. You know,
Oh, I
and
love this.
hit random. Yeah, you can do it. Niels Fram cover band with it.
Yeah, I can hear Tim's cogs turning. And I go, So I was thinking when the when all the restrictions are off and Corona calms down, would you move to Manchester?
Oh, how much do you pay?
Well, we'll
Fuck
see
all.
what I can do. But, yeah, I can just absolutely nothing.
Well,
Yeah.
well, I might move to Sheffield, or I don't know. I'm up for projects, anyways. I mean, I'm desperate to
Yeah.
always to travel.
Yeah.
So when this shit is over, I'm up for just coming over 2 weeks to Manchester. If
There you go. There you go.
get me a place,
So-
got
the
it.
project together.
All
Yeah.
day.
It's
Yeah.
done live, cracking.
Yeah, no, I think that is so cool, and the potential of that is just awesome. And,
Yeah. And I mean, it goes deeper. Obviously,
Oh,
you can, you have sequence edit. You have like up to 64 steps for each sequence, so you could have like huge long sequence, and you can have up to 16 sequences in here, So
I mean, it's just it's just another a viewpoint of the music and where it's coming from, isn't it? Because you're making choices about what, when, and where, and how fast and how slow, just like you would playing any instrument. But you've kind of got this other layer of control by. Oh yeah, I'm there. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can use your live duration and your live velocity as well, and you can set this for each note as well. You have like another layer, another 2 layers, extra layers, which you can map to a reverb, for example. So I could map this one now to, yeah, let's do this. So I could map this one to check. Just a delay. So now those values here will trigger my return, or will going into my send stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Turns on the delay, or goes like the send is being controlled now as well. So, I mean, it's a lot of options here, so I don't want to like go too, because it's too confusing maybe.
I think that's just, that is an insight to what is possible. Because like, you know, obviously not everybody who's who's in watching this will necessarily be drummers, but it's the fact that you can physically interact with a sequence or a pattern. I mean, just what you showed us then, you can have a sequence that you have programmed in via a clip, but you can also, you can use your, you can trigger and set it in a key, and then you can play notes from a certain key to trigger the MIDI instrument, and you can limit the notes, you can have the whole range. Could you also, right, sorry, I know you said we keep it not too complicated, but where you've got things like you reverse the sequence, if you're doing that with one hand, you're using the trigger button that you've got there. Could you also have another switch between the modes as you're playing?
Switch between,
like,
I mean, all those buttons here are, first of all, they are MIDI mappable. So yeah, so you can like MIDI map those buttons, but what works much better is put in a direct MIDI note in. So let us quickly do this. So I have this sequence here, and this field is playing forward.
Yeah.
And let's set this up to play reverse. Mapped already. So I'm playing forward with the middle pad here. And going backwards.
There you go. That's
so musical, isn't it?
Yeah. I think that's the next level. That's wicked.
Because it's just like, well, like you said before, Toby, about the possibilities for you live, which we're going to see some more of, the possibilities in creation and the possibilities of getting tracking done. It's just a completely different level at it, isn't it?
Yeah. And I mean, this is like quite advanced shit, but you can think like, well, actually, I just want this one melody. Maybe you're full on guitar band and you just want this one melody to be played from one pad, and the singer is triggering those notes, and you just want to like do this live, and it could be just used for those little things, really easy, you know. But just to get a little bit of live feeling in there, to have the nice catchy synth melody being triggered live, just one pad, or just one button of a launch pad or whatever, you know. If it's sending MIDI note, just send it in there and it will trigger the right notes. So
that's awesome. Well, I think we have guests on, and they always leave me and Tim just going, and we just start taking.
Are we going to drag that into?
How are we going to do that? I think that's awesome. So yeah, while you have a little part of your drink there, that's even just that is like, oh yeah, because I've seen you play it, and you sort of, but amazingly, because it's like just being beamed at us, you know, across Zoom or whatever. It's just like, oh yeah. So yeah, great job, man, great job. So can I just ask you? You don't have to go in depth about this one, but I'm guessing you had to learn Max for Live to understand how to do this. So did this spell start from you having a need to make all this? Because obviously you must have had these ideas to do this.
Yes. So I'm not a programmer, and a lot of people who are using or doing stuff patching Max for Live are not coming from a programming background. So Max for Live for me was the possibility to connect some dots which are not natively connected. So this is like the melody trigger device here is a really good example, but let me just give you another example.
Oh, here we go.
So I mean, everyone or a lot of people are using Zoom meetings now,
Right now.
and like we are right now. And you always like when you want to screen share and when you want to stop the screen share, where is the effing control bar from Zoom? You know, and especially like people like me who are teaching Ableton Live online using Zoom, you use a screen share, you want to switch back, you want to like So I was missing this thing to say like, well, I want my iPad or a MIDI controller to be able to control Zoom.
Oh, check you.
And I had a chat with someone. He was doing shortcuts over like key command shortcuts over OSB, OBS.
OBS, yeah, that's what I'm using here.
Yeah, that's what.
Just
so,
about holding up.
Yeah, and so I was like, man, there should be a way on to connect those dots. So I was looking for stuff, and I created this device. So I like, and it's always starting from the beginning because you need to find some dots you can connect. So the dots in this case, just to give you one example, is Zoom has a global shortcut control. You can put the shortcuts on Zoom to global. That means not only when Zoom is in the main software, which is running like in the main window, the shortcuts will work, but they will work always.
Oh, right. Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
So you can switch.
That's like linking a device in live where it's always available when you use a MIDI controller. It always goes to that. Right.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt there.
Just to give you an example, if I'm switching now to my browser, or I'm switching to Ableton Live, or am I switching to Zoom, only this application which have selected is like receiving those key commands shortcuts from my computer keyboard. Yeah, and in global you can in Zoom you can switch on like that. Zoom is always receiving those shortcuts, even if you have Ableton Live selected.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the first step to find out. And then the next step was like, okay, how can I create a Max for Live device sending key shortcuts? So, and this is what this device is doing actually. I can switch on those buttons here and they will just send those key shortcuts to Zoom, key commands to Zoom. And that's it. Yeah. And so, but it didn't quite answer your question, but it's like
that's pretty special. So you actually it did answer my question because you wrote this and you do use it to help you deliver a much streamlined version of using Zoom to teach rather than mouse everywhere and saying where the fuck is this and where is that and where, because that's what Tim does all the time.
That's what I do. Yeah, I don't have anywhere near as much going on as you or Simon when you're doing these things, but I still manage to fuck it up. So if I had something like that, I'd be genius and just press it.
And where can we download this from? Is it
So this is
website?
all on my homepage, abletondrummer.com.
Yeah.
And right there, it's a free download.
A free download?
It's free. It's free.
Kostenlos.
Did someone say free?
Free.
Free.
Kostenlos.
Kostenlos, exactly.
Genau.
So yeah.
Your link's in the chat room, Toby.
Thank you.
Go and get it, guys. I really like what you've done though. It's really clear. The GUI is really, really smart. And also, click here for more Max for Live devices. It's like, it's on point, man. You've got functionality functionality and marketing all in one place. Great. I'm loving it. That's great. Well, we've shared that in there. It's quite funny as well because everybody just goes, oh, Zoom. So the more like pain you can take away to enable more music, the better. So
Yeah, I mean, you can set up your push. You can have one button on your push. You can MIDI map this to share screen, or mute your mic or switch your camera. And you can as well, and this is the same concept like I'm using on the melody trigger. You can send in a MIDI note into this track and map this to a function.
Awesome.
The beauty here is because then you can save this if you have sending a C1 from your computer, from your keyboard always to mute your mic or something. You can then save this as a preset in your user library.
Ah, yes.
And it will be restored because MIDI mappings won't be restored. If you map this now to a push button, it's not being stored.
Yeah.
It's not being saved. Yeah. In the Ableton Live set it is, but not as a preset in your user library.
Right. I get you. Now, just do you know Ned Rush?
Of course.
Of course you do. Yeah, he's in there, and he mentioned about your upright piano. Yeah, he was on a few weeks ago, and Ned's awesome. We love you, Ned. And so Ned just said then about the melody trigger. It's called melody trigger. Yeah, he said
yes.
It would be cool in drum racks. Now I know you showed me. I tried to describe this last week when we were in our show, and I think I didn't do a good job of it. But you shared a device with me that allowed you. This was when you came over to Manchester in 2019, September 2019, and you showed me. And I tried to describe this to everybody else, but when you have a drum rack, just without any Max for Live help, you trigger you can trigger a loop, but it doesn't loop in the same way, and you don't have the same control as you do with a clip. Now you made a device that goes before a drum rack. Is that at hand for you to describe how that works?
Yeah, I mean,
you don't have to. But I'm just to say what it is.
It's part of a pack I released via Isotonic, Darren. And it should be in here. It's a note toggle drum rack. That's called. It. And there we go.
I'm sure Ned knows all about this. You're Isotonic label mates then, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah, you guys. You're responsible for all sorts of stuff. You guys...
that's a toggle all notes. But I mean, in the end, it's just should be in there. Yeah.
I just thought it was so cool, and I've not even been able to use it yet. But I know in my mind what I want it to do. Because if you've got like a push and you've got 64 note drum rack, you could pretty much have the whole, the flexibility of a drum rack with all the different channels and the volumes, and it's just amazing. Even if you were using, no, it doesn't matter. You just show it, so it's great.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Now it moves. Yeah, so it's not loading the right values here, so that might be an 11 issue.
Oh yeah, it's okay, but even if you just explain the concept to people.
So the concept is, I mean, if you use a simpler, you can set a simpler to loop.
Yeah.
So and then you can just have drum racks with simplers in there and just loop stuff in here instead of MIDI clips. So if you now just put in a simpler and drag a loop in there, it's really slow. It might be because of Zoom.
Yeah, it's not the best when you're trying to.
So it needs to be set to loop. And you need to set the release down, the decay, and then you can just drag in a loop in here, and it will loop as long, and you can toggle it on and off. Yeah. Right. So I haven't prepared it here.
No, it's fine, mate. It's okay. I didn't want to send you off topic, but I know that's something that it will mean a lot to people, regardless of them being drummers. That the fact that you can have a drum rack and you can set these loops. And so if I'm right in saying that where it says like G#3 there, you just set the target of the note that it triggers and you can loop that. Yeah.
I mean, you're just gonna use your push like you're using it.
Yeah.
But you're using a drum rack, so you have like all the push buttons are triggering loops on and off, and you can switch them on and off. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean,
'Cause
there's
that's something that it just doesn't do, without the intervention of your device, basically. No, it's really good. It's really cool.
yeah. I mean, I'm gonna send you a link over. You might want to put it in the. You said you're gonna doing a link list, and then people can watch a proper tutorial about it. Because,
Okay, right.
Yeah, maybe.
Can you do that, Tim? Is it in the chat?
I've got your website in repeatedly, Toby. Is it all on there, or do you want a specific page sharing?
If people are looking for drum rack toggle loop, which is the name, and there's lots of info about it on the net, and people can, if they're interested in, or just join the Ableton Drummer Facebook group and ask there about it. So
I'm having a nosy now.
Right.
Cool.
Did you mean to mute your mic then, Tim? Did you mean to? Okay, he is. He's having a look. Right. Awesome. We can still hear you though. Yep. Yes, we can. Right, we're there. So, can I just ask you, how did you get your iPad to work with the with that? You don't have to. Is it complex or is it quite simple?
no, it's from a user perspective, it's really easy. What you will need is Cycling 74 has an app which is called Mira. It's around $5 to $10,
Okay.
and you can, as a Max for Live developer, you can put in a Mira frame into a Max for Live device. So from a user perspective, you just need this app, and if the person who developed the device put in a Mira frame,
Yeah.
you just open up the app. Let's do this. You open up the app, and then it detects your computer if it's on the same Wi-Fi. You press connect, and then it connects automatically to the Max for Live device.
Oh wow.
That's all you need to do.
Did not know that.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Oh wow. That's quite exciting. So that would work with any, as long as someone has put the Mira frame in there. Oh dear. Wonderful.
And of course, there is some, like, you need to set it right, and some objects, like those buttons here, they are called objects in the Max for Live language. And some buttons some objects won't work with the Mira frame, with this app. So it needs to be like done carefully and done properly to.
Right. Well, now you've mentioned that, I know that it exists, because my Max for Live knowledge is I did a course with Phelan Kane. Do you know Phelan? And I've asked him to come on here, and he's going to come on and keep it kind of, sort of accessible and simple for our viewers. But I mean, they might have some, he knows stuff. He's now a certified Max for Live teacher as well. So we're going to have him on, but I can ask him now about stuff like that, because I've never made any devices other than the sequencers that we did in the lessons and things. But this is starting to get more towards how I'm thinking. So it's great. This is really good.
It's good. How about you, Tim? Did you ever do you use Max for Live devices at all, or?
I use what presets I find in my little toolbar on the left, Toby. Otherwise, to be honest with you, I'm a little bit lost.
Yeah,
I get it. I get what all the functionality and everything's for, but the some of them are a bit beyond me at this moment in time.
Yeah, I mean, it's a whole different thing besides doing music. Is like going into Max for Live, but I'm just curious to ask people, because it's like, it's there for people to use, and a lot of people's perception about Max for Life is like they have to patch, they have to program, which is not the case.
No.
It's just I do the shit for people so people can use it, and
Yeah,
so
absolutely. No, I think that's the, the whole thing. Like when I became a certified trainer, I had to talk about Max for Live, but I wasn't ever programming. And when I asked people about it, Dennis Fisher from Ableton saying, I've never made a Max for Live device, and he said, well, probably there's somebody that's already beat you to it. There's somebody's already made it. But if you find something that someone hasn't done, which was in your case, clearly this kind of stuff, then you find a need. But there's all the help guides and stuff, and it actually makes a lot of sense. But I think, like someone said in the chat room that I saw before, it was Eternal Monsoon. Thanks for joining us. Said I have enough to learn in live without doing anything in Max, and I get that. So it's kind of, I think depending on what you're wanting to achieve, then there's a certain pathway that sometimes you need to stick to, sometimes you need to deviate, and you clearly had to go off the track, didn't you? So
yes, and to be honest, you're doing less and less and less and less music because you're programming. So it's a big dark rabbit hole.
But then again, Toby, when you create, I mean, this like Zoom controller that you've created, it's like, well, once you've created that thing, the amount of time saved and the amount of creative moments not ruined because you end up going down some other technical rabbit hole is great, isn't it?
It is, but still, like, you need to be really focused, because when you, like, my problem is I'm sitting at my drum kit and I'm doing some stuff and I think like, oh, that's not working 100%, and then you're like programming for 2 hours, and then so it's kind of like if you build the instrument and if you use the instrument on the same time, you need to be really focused, like what mode am I on here now? Am I like, same like with mixing and mastering and produce, like writing a track and mixing and mastering on the same time, which is kind of like, no, you need to stay focused, like which mode are you in now? Do you want to create and then come back 2 days later and mix it properly? Or do you want to mix it now? And
you've just given yourself an extra layer of that everybody else already has, haven't you?
Yeah. kind of. So, but I mean, it's so good to, like, I have so many people contacting me and asking me like, hey, do you have a solution for that? Do you have a solution for that? And it really fulfills me to just being able to say people, yeah, it's possible via that, or yeah, I can help you do this shit for you, and yeah, it's much more attention than more attention than just doing music.
Good. I like it. So what's next for you then? What's have you got anything planned that you can tell us about that you're doing? Or
yes, I have a few bigger projects I'm working on, and I have a few smaller projects I'm gonna release soon. So this one here, for example, it's for the SPDSX as well, because it's like one of the most used things. Someone asked me, because a lot of people are starting to use this only as a MIDI controller. I mean, it's like it's the drum pad used.
Oh yeah.
And but it's like you only get like one layered samples on it, and it's a real brain fuck to put stuff on there, and it's like, so a lot of people are using it via Max for Live and just use it as a MIDI controller. So what you have down here is like a plus and minus button to change the kits. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You can't see that properly, but
No,
to
we
change
can,
the sounds. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And so someone asked me like, hey, because if you use it as a MIDI controller, I need to explain this first. If you use it as a MIDI controller, you're probably gonna use drum racks in Ableton Live. Yeah, you're just sending in MIDI notes, you have your drum samples in a drum rack. And then the concept a lot of people are using is stacking drum racks in instrument racks.
Yeah.
Because then you are able, via the chain selector,
Yeah.
to select to which chain, meaning to which drum rack
Yeah.
this should go.
Yeah.
Make sense, Tim?
Yeah.
Or- yeah, cool. So so if this one is on value number 20, it is, I guess, because this zone selector here is set to 20. Now the MIDI being sent from the SPDSX is only going into the MIDI 1 chain to this drum rack. If the chain selector is on 21, it's going into the next one, into the MIDI 2 chain. So this way you can automate, and that's really nice because you're just starting the scene in Ableton Live, and you have some MIDI dummy clip, just setting the right, selecting the right chain here, and you can change your drum sounds just by starting a track.
So how do you how are you controlling the chain selector?
You can have a MIDI clip, a MIDI dummy clip,
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
and then zip, I'm on the wrong track here. 1 sec.
So you're doing it via clip for each song. So you're doing it by scene or by clip.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, the Wheel of Fortune. There we go.
Oh, have you got one? We didn't see that. You see, when you're the one doing it, you see it. We didn't see it.
So, yeah, so I can set an envelope in a MIDI clip. And now if this clip is being triggered or being played, so this starts, the scene is starting my tune. And then you can see I have an automation or an envelope setting up, changing
Yeah.
the scene selector. And this way, a different scene is being selected. So the MIDI coming from the SPDSX is being routed into the scene which is being selected.
Yeah. Does that make
Makes
sense,
sense?
Tim? Does that make sense, Tim? Because
Yeah.
it's just like
Yeah,
when
I've followed that.
yeah,
Cool.
it's just like when we automate instruments in like a rack and stuff like that. So you can have all of the sounds, and then what he's doing there is moving the chain selector. When you slide that across, it's basically playing where it says MIDI 1. That's like one drum kit, and then it moves it down. Just like I keep showing those drum kits.
So essentially, you've through a complicated setup, you've managed to automate the change between different sounds, different instruments being used for the MIDI. It's cool.
Yeah.
I won't be able to do it.
No.
No, it's, I mean,
I will once I've rewatched this a few times.
Yeah. No,
but it's a really, 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 really important technique to know, because you can chain everything. So for example, if you have audio effects, so you could group those, open up the chain view, suck, and now you could have like one effect in the first chain, effects 1, and then you have a second effect. And then you can say, well, actually, I want, let's do this really obvious. I want the first effect to be applied at this part. And then when I move the chain selector up here, it's being routed into the second. Yes, so you are selecting the different chains here, and you can have like a lot of chains in here. And just for, you could blend between audio effects, for example. Yeah. Like this. And this is the same concept for instruments. So if you have some, just chuck some stuff in here. If you have some instruments you want to change, so let's say you have a MIDI keyboard and you're playing live, and in song number 1, you want this, your MIDI keyboard to play this sound. And on song number 2, you want a different sound. So you need to create a new chain. Call the song 2, go into your chain selector, and then you have to set the zones, they are called, those blue markers here. to the values. They should be selected by when the chain selector is on this number.
Yep.
Makes sense?
Yeah.
Cool. Perfect.
There you go. You can take over my job, you know. You can do this, man. Yeah, making sense to Tim. No, you get that, don't you, mate? You don't.
Yeah.
You get that, Tim.
And so to sum this up, so what I did is I did this device, which is actually using those buttons, which are not in this use case because you're just using it as a MIDI controller.
Oh.
So you have those two buttons, plus and minus, for selecting the kids inside of the SPDX. You don't need them anymore because you're just sending MIDI notes. So what you're doing now is you're pressing plus and minus on those buttons, and you can see the chain selector moving now.
Ah.
Yeah. And it's selecting the right chain, and you can even have the colors of the chain represented. So if we bam bam, so
Have you shown because I remember we did for Ableton, we did the when Joe Clegg and Adam Marcello were on, and you were in the chat room. You were answering everybody's question before anybody got a chance to answer it. But have you shown that to Adam Marcello?
I just finished that one today.
Wow.
And it's gonna release it on Friday.
Because he uses it like you do, doesn't he? He does it like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the way, like the whole chain thing here. That's the way how people use stuff live.
Yeah.
When they have one MIDI controller, but they want multiple sounds.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, I mean, just imagine you have like 10, 20 different sounds. Do you want a track for all of those different sounds? Like,
No.
Let's add another tambourine here. Oh shit, I have to add a new track. No, so people use this technique here because it keeps it really like, I have one track where my controller is going in and I have all the sounds on there, and I can change those via automations. Or if I want to do it live via the plus and minus buttons, you can do this as well from Friday on now, yeah.
Okay. So that'll be available on your page.
Yes, obviously. It feels like a marketing cast more, like like a video cast.
No,
Not at all.
This is people talking about music. We're genuinely fascinated by what you're doing, and you know, it's you've got to shout, man. You're doing all this work and helping people out. You know what I mean? You've got to. This is it. It's the platform. This is the way things are, mate. This is how it is. You know, we're all in this together. Cheesy quote and everything, but it's true, man.
Are there any questions in the chat,
Yeah,
maybe,
I'm
or
just
some?
going to open that because there's. I think most people are just going, "Wow, that's cool." Wow,
And,
that's
yeah,
cool.
that-
But
it's
if
possible
anyone's
just
got
go,
any
yeah,
questions,
great.
oh, Inti's in the house. He's it was drummer for Bipolar Sunshine. His producer's amazing. It's me, and he's now on. He's doing he basically just doing an EP, and he's playing everything, aren't you? On his, but he was doing stuff like using Ableton and SPDX, and yeah, he's in there. Anybody else got any questions for Tobi?
I think everyone's still probably processing. I think, like me.
Yeah. I'm
That's
gonna put
bringing
us all
everyone
on.
down to my level. But yeah.
Well, let's put us all back in there. You can stop sharing your screen if you want, Tobi. There, we'll just
Nice one.
unless somebody asks something really specific. But yeah, if anyone's got any questions, do get it in. And if after this, Tobi, because there's quite a chance that some people may think, oh fuck, I wish I could have asked him that. Do you have a part of your website where people can just drop you a message?
Yes,
You
people
must
can
have.
come to the abletondrummer.com page, obviously, and there's a contact section, and we have a group on Facebook as well for using Ableton Live, not only but focused from a drummer's perspective, because there's so many different fields on like how to use it, and that's just have a look, come and join and ask the questions. And there's so many great people in there with so much great knowledge, like
Yeah.
really like some really like good people, plus some like people who are doing this like as a profession, and we have lots of knowledge there. And yes, of course, I do the normal teaching online stuff as well. So if people want to go deeper, or if people want to have custom stuff, come to just write me an email.
Yes, you do like, I think the first time that I discovered you, before I met you, you do like courses and one-to-ones and stuff like that. So you were kind of doing all sorts of Zoom stuff and whatever way before pandemic. You were always doing it, weren't you?
Yeah, well, not always,
No.
but I was I was trying like I released my first online course in 2016, I think. 2015, 2016. And then obviously it's such a niche thing.
Oh yeah.
So like it's compared to what the majority of people are using Ableton Live for.
Yeah.
So it was quite normal for me to do this stuff in English. As you haven't noticed, I'm not a native English speaker.
You speak better than most of my friends anyway.
Better than me, Toby.
Well, I used to live in Bristol for 4 years, so that might have like given me some head start here. And so I was teaching online internationally for quite a while now, before the whole pandemic shit came on, so I got a little head start here. Yeah.
So a question has come in now from Tommy. Any gear recommendations, Toby? What would be the cheapest acceptable way to go with hitting sticks on pads? That's a great question. Thinking the same myself. Because did you see last week's show? Helena Rice was doing the visual stuff. And to kind of make it a little bit more so she's not just on the computer. She was using pads. And I was going to ask her that, and I completely forgot what she was using. But yeah, that's a great question, Tommy.
I think you just need, like, you can get old pads, e-drum pads. They're going quite cheap, like for 30, 40 pound or euros on eBay. And then you have a pad you can hit on, but then you would need a trigger to MIDI thingy. And there are a few really nice, there's one company I can really like, it's called the device is called eDrummin, and the company is called Audio Front. And they have a really small device which has 4 trigger inputs. That's 4 stereo trigger inputs. So if you split those, you can have 8 pads if you have 8 mono pads, for example. And it's just as big as a cigarette box. Yeah. And it goes, I think, for around 100 US plus postage, somewhere around there. It's a one-man company. It's doing really good shit. It's a great editor, and and you can go for all the stuff. You can get a really old eDrum module and just plug stuff in there. As long as it spits out MIDI and the latency is doing fine, you can connect it to your computer via your 5-pin MIDI, and then just hit things.
Yeah.
And that's
what we want. Exactly. Oh, that's really good, because I've often thought that, but like somebody mentioned before, I've got enough to go on with all this stuff in here and that. But somebody did leave a Roland V-drum kit here once, and it was great to have that. And like Inti was saying in there, when you hook it up to like Addictive Drums or some of the better kits in live, they just sound amazing, especially if you can play drums as well. But yeah. So do you know Dave Murphy? Because he has to leave early. Apologies. Thanks, Tim. Epic stuff. Thanks, guys. Really great session. So there you go. He's
nice
happy.
Nice one, Dave.
But yeah, love it. Well, we'll round it up now, because you're an hour ahead, aren't you, Toby? And it's just getting late.
It's getting late.
But
getting bored.
Any last questions? Do fire them across. And then if you've got anything that you want to ask Toby in the future, you should know where to find him now, because Tim's been putting that link in frequently. I know it off by heart. https://blog.abletondrummer.com// at the end. Now, wicked, Toby, it's been an absolute pleasure, and I'm probably going to think, oh, I should have asked him that.
So
But,
what's coming next for you guys? Like what are you guys working on, music wise, project wise?
Well, we've got this track that we're working on right now, and we've got some other kind of experimental stuff that we're doing, and just kind of using the media and cutting it up with music and stuff. But yeah, we're working on our second EP actually as Lostlight, and we're nearly there, aren't we? Nearly there, but we keep sort of like playing little bits on here that we're working on the show and stuff like that. But we've got a guest vocalist on one of them, and he's currently in New Zealand, so we're getting ready for when he comes back to jump on one. It's kind of a drum and bass, punky, industrial sort of thing. But yeah, we've got like quite a lot of material actually now that we want to kind of put it all out at sort of a nice rate. So. But we want to have like really good videos with them and stuff like that. We want it to be quite visual, and we're really getting fussy. But we're just gonna get all the music finished. But yeah, we've got like another EP in the. I think if we had to set a deadline, which really helps for us.
Always helps. Helps.
I think as summer comes upon us, we'll have the probably EP finished. And if not, I've just set that deadline for us.
Well, we'll just go with that because now we've published.
I'll send you. I'll send the track we're working on now. I'll send it you because
yes, please.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting.
It's a bit of a blend, Toby. I mean, we've got a bit distracted because we were getting into a pace, weren't we, Simon?
Yeah.
But then we got a bit distracted because we started the webcast. We were doing Simon's tutorial videos. Well, Simon was doing them. I just do the editing, and then we were trying to find a way that we can create more musical content, more creative content, without it being as labor intensive, but without sacrificing on the quality, if you get me. And we've come up with this way of kind of taking these bits of media, should we say, that are quite striking to us, and then writing music to them. So that's where we're at. We've got a couple of them like bubbling away, but then we've got the main track which kind of ties all them together as well, which is
And you know, it's kind of good. Like I've sort of because I used to write songs like 20 years ago or whatever, and I kind of got out of it a little bit really, and I sort of over lockdown it just kind of like I started to think, well, you know, actually I watched a video of Andrew Huang's actually because you know, he's great, and he mentioned something about singing, and like people have a go at him for his singing voice. He's saying, well, you're not a great singer, stick to doing this. And he said, well, I like to sing, I just like doing it. And he's great. I've met him, he's cool, like, you know, he's worked with a friend of mine quite a lot, and he's a great guy, but he's like just so talented, and like he just wants to do that, and he's made it his job, and he's done a really good job of it. And I kind of like thought, you know, you're only here once, aren't you? You just got to get all this music out. And this thing I keep saying to Tim, that any idea you've got, any song you've got, you need to make it exist. So that's kind of what we've been doing, just kind of getting them all out in some format where we can play them to people, and do stuff. And
yeah, cause it's got to the point where we've just got a massive backlog, haven't we? You've constantly got new stuff coming out here, but you've also got the old tracks that need, you know, like you've got great ideas for revamping kind of thing. But it's a case of kind of getting them all on paper now so that we know what we've got and getting it in presentable fashion.
You've got to get it out to move on.
So here's one thought. We are talking about your process now, and that's really exciting for people as well. So musicians and especially producers sitting on their computer thinking like, oh, it's not ready. It needs to be here. But the time in between and what happens in between, I mean, why do we love watching documentaries about bands and stuff? Because they're showing what is happening, like, and like before you can hear the music. So one thought to give you guys, like maybe like, you know, maybe there's some stuff you want to share before
To be honest with you, Toby, I thank you for saying that, because it's like we're always that they're the kind of conversations that me and Simon have. But what we're also wary of is that we don't want to. Well, especially with how me and Simon can go off on tangents, we don't want to drag people along for too far of a journey, because they can go quite deep. But you're right, because it is interesting, especially like for me, I can relate more to that, because when you get into the technical stuff, even though I can follow it, I don't feel like I can speak with any authority, so I kind of remain quiet and try and take it in. But if we're talking about processing, it's so important, because otherwise you end up, you'll keep slogging away but getting nowhere in terms of your goals.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, what we've done over the last few weeks, when we do put these tracks out, anybody who watches this will be like, I've heard that before. And it's like, we have been drip feeding these tracks. believe me. And it's like,
so you're doing this video cast to test out your ideas, aren't you?
oh, he's gone.
Got you there.
So
Just dragging people in, Toby. That's all we're doing. Come here.
Right.
Have that.
Do you know this band? They are shit, but they're doing this amazing video cast, so the music is fine.
That's the one.
That's pretty much our mission statement.
To make our music seem more palatable, because they like us as personalities.
So our project's called Lostlight, and if you haven't got like links and stuff, I'll send it you, because one of our first or second shows, we played the last video that we did. I mean, it's done all right on Spotify. We've had about 12,000 plays or something, haven't we, for that? Which is not bad, because Tim was the one man machine just getting it out there, and it's about 5,000 plays on YouTube or something.
That's the one. Yeah, I think it's about 5,000.
Yeah,
but it doesn't sit that comfortably with me now. But I think it's just that creative thing where, whenever you've done something, it needed to be done, so it was done. And then afterwards, you'll always look back and think, well, it didn't. I could have done this. I could have done that.
Always.
It exists now.
Yeah.
Always.
Quickly
Always.
move on to the next. But just so I don't bore anybody, and what we can do, if you just stick around, Toby, I'm going to make sure that we say goodbye to everyone and answer the last few questions, because somebody said, Scrampop, sorry if it was late, Scrampop said, are these devices compatible for Live 11 and MPE?
MPE, no, because it's like...
There's no need yet, is there yet? No.
It's no need yet. Yeah, so
It
I
was all in
haven't
11
looked
though, isn't
to MPE that much, but they are compatible with 11.
Yeah.
So
You
far,
were using 11 then,
all I
weren't
see.
you? So.
And so
Awesome. There you go. And Entrup says Vielen Dank. Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Yeah.
I know that one.
Yeah, wicked.
Yay.
So we will officially say goodbye to all our guests. Thank you so much for all the people in the chat room. You really make this work, and it's great to have you in there, because we know that we're talking to somebody.
Someone is listening.
Yeah,
Yay.
someone's listening, and I know
guys,
that people do this. So yeah, thanks everyone for that.
Mate,
And,
it was
all right,
amazing, that, Toby. Thank you.
Thank you guys for having me. One idea:
Yeah.
Go on.
when this shit is over, you guys gonna do a gig in Manchester. I'm gonna come over a week earlier, and I'm gonna join you for a few songs. Or
Absolutely, mate.
just do some stuff together.
Yeah,
It'd be
absolutely.
awesome.
Sounds great, mate.
It's digitally imprinted. Absolutely. We just
brilliant,
stay on, Toby. We'll have a quick chat in Simon and Tim's after hours session. But I'm going to play out. I'm going to play out with. I personally like this one of yours. So I've got Ableton Drummer clip 2. So I'm going to play this out. I like this, and it really emphasizes what Toby was saying about the. He's triggering it in real time, and I think you can really tell in this one. And then you slow it down right at the very end to finish. It's about 2 minutes 30 long or something like that. So goodbye, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for getting this far. Thanks everyone in the chat room. And last but no means least, thank you, Toby, the Ableton drummer. Big up. Nice one, man.
Thank you, guys.
Let's do this.
Thank